Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, welcome to the sixth session of our Beyond Hajj program. And just as a reminder, the purpose of the sessions are of twofold. First is so that you can prepare for Hajj and prepare well. For many of us, this may be once in a lifetime experience. And the second purpose is so that when you come back a better person, someone who is more connected to Jalla wa Ala. Now, in the five sessions that were held, some of the topics that we covered, the very first one that was covered, it focused on intentions, understanding Allah's invitation that has been sent to you, and also how you can build a mindset in order for you to have a transformative Hajj. In the second session, we looked at the reality of Tawbah, its condition, and the inner preparation that you need and it is required for you to benefit from Hajj, inshallah. And then Sheikh Farid went through the deeper meaning of the journey, what it means. You don't just take things literally. There is a deeper meaning, and what is Hajj trying to teach you. So he went through a session with you to understand the journey of Hajj. Now, all these aspects were the spiritual side, and we also covered the reality on the ground. So we're trying to give you almost like the spiritual side, the ideal, what you should be doing, and the reality on the ground, so that you can balance between the two and navigate so that you can have a transformative Hajj. Now that we've done a few of those sessions, and this is the sixth session that we're holding, hopefully we've given you enough of a building block, spiritual building block, for you to be ready in order for you to now take the fiqh of Hajj, the rites of Hajj, and we're going to break that down for you in two sessions, inshallah. So tonight we're going to cover the fiqh of Umrah, and this is one of the first major act that you'll be doing when you get to Mecca. Now, it's very important that you pay attention to this, because we're going to go through it in a bit more detail, but in a simplified manner. With the fiqh of Hajj, which will be covered on Thursday, we will go through that with you, but also we will cover that again when we're in Hajj, just before Hajj. But Umrah, you need to listen quite attentively, because this is the first act that you'll be doing. And although your guide may be with you while you're out there and while you're performing Umrah, there is a strong possibility that, and this happens quite often, that once you get to the Haram, you could be separated. Or even before you get to Haram, you could be separated. So you need to know the rites of Umrah quite well. Hence why we will go through it in a simplified manner so that you understand, inshallah. So to deliver the session tonight, we're privileged to have Dr. Sheikh Saqib Qureshi. He's a dentist by profession, and he brings over 20 years of experience within the Hajj industry. He's pursued advanced Islamic studies in Egypt and Mauritania, and studied under some senior shuyukhs in from those countries. And alongside his professional work, he teaches regularly across numerous institutions and masajids throughout London. Now, before I hand over the floor to Sheikh Saqib, we do have a very tight time limit, especially those of us in the UK, because Isha is just after 9:30. So what we want to do is, inshallah, go straight into the session. We might leave a little bit of time for Q&A, and then we'll end the session because people will want to go to Isha. But come Thursday, inshallah, we'll cover the fiqh of Hajj. So without any further ado, if I can hand over the floor to Sheikh Saqib.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How do I share my screen?
Okay, let me make you the host. I'll start this. Okay, you should be able to share now.
طيب. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So I'm going to go over a step-by-step guide on how to do Hajj. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us the tawfiq, beneficial knowledge, and also to give us an accepted Umrah and Hajj. Before we go into the details of Hajj, we want to cover a summary of the types of Hajj that you might read about in your books of Hajj. There's 3 types of Hajj. One is Ifrad, and one is Tamattu, and one is Qiran. And the one I'm going to concentrate on is At-Tamattu. There are some nuances with Qiran, which is very similar to Tamattu, and there's Ifrad as well. But if you're reading up on the books of Hajj, you might come across these 3 terms. Ifrad is when you only do Hajj and you don't do an Umrah, and you don't have to give a sacrifice. At-Tamattu is where you will go there, you'll go to Mecca, you'll do your Umrah, come out of the state of Ihram, and then just before the days of Hajj, you'll enter Ihram again for Hajj. And Qiran is slightly different, where you go to Mecca and you stay in the state of Ihram after your Umrah, and then you complete your Hajj, remaining in the state of Ihram. And so we're going to cover the Tamattu, which is what the Prophet ﷺ recommended for the companions, and according to a number of scholars, it's the preferred way to do Hajj. If somebody is planning to do another form of Hajj, they can contact me or one of the guides directly, and then we can address any questions or issues that they may have. Now, before we start the journey, we do want to learn about Hajj. Hopefully you're attending these seminars, these webinars, the talks, and maybe you're reading up about Hajj. As recommended before, you read up on Surah Al-Hajj. You also read on any books, attend lessons by scholars and imams in your local masjid talking about Hajj. So you're mentally prepared for Hajj. We also want to learn how to do the janazah prayer, because a number of us might be living in masajid that don't pray the janazah. In Makkah and Medina, you'll often have a janazah salah after one of the fara'id. So you want to learn how to pray the janazah salah. And then you want to learn something about traveling etiquettes when you shorten the salah. How do you do tayammum? There have been situations in the past where we've been stuck and we've had to do tayammum. So you might want to read up on this as well. This will also include a bit of spiritual preparation as well, which hopefully the brothers here on this team they've been holding your hand through. Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. Allah Azza wa Jal said, and prepare with provisions for this journey, and know that the best provisions that you can prepare for is a taqwa. The best provision that you can have in this journey to Hajj and in life in general is to have taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jal. It's the spiritual preparation which is more important and more beneficial than the material or the outward preparation. Hajj also offers a great opportunity for you to return rights, ask forgiveness from people. Maybe you have wronged someone. It's a great time for you to send them a message, approach them, visit them, and say, look, I'm going on Hajj. If I've wronged you in any way, then please forgive me. You don't have to mention in a specific way the specific manner in which you wrong them. You can leave it open and you can ask for forgiveness, and you can build bridges with people that you may have wronged in the past. Likewise, you want to pay back loans as well. So if there's any rights that you owe, you want to pay them back. If they're not due yet, then it's recommended that you write a will. It's recommended that you write a will for any rights that you owe others or rights that you are owed. Also, you want to repent to Allah Azza wa Jal, because one of the things that's going to come between you and good is bad deeds or sins. So you want to do tawbah before you go on the journey. So Allah Azza wa Jal gives you the tawfiq to do an accepted Hajj and gives you His divine assistance on this journey to do what He loves and to complete this act of worship as He wishes you to complete it. You also want to choose a good companion. And the reason why we mention this in the step-by-step guide is because you're going in a large group. This isn't a holiday. You're not going alone. We're going to be in a large group. The bare minimum, you'll be in a coach of, say, 40 to 50 people. So we're going to often be traveling in a group, and we want to, first of all, we want to look after the weak and the needy from amongst us. This is a type of sadaqah and a type of good deed that we can do for those that are with us and they need our help, and the weak amongst us and those that may need assistance. Likewise, there might be someone in the group that you don't get along with. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-arwahu junudun mujannada, that the souls are like birds of a feather, meaning that there might be some people you naturally get on with. You feel like you click with them and you can hang out with them. There may be others that you don't feel that you get on with, that you don't like them. Your nafs is not really happy with them. They're not your type of person that you want to hang around. Then this is absolutely fine. You still want to be nice to them, but you want to be around good company. And this also includes you as well. You want to be a good companion to travel with. You want to help out one another. So we want to help one another. Allah said, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. We're going on this journey, so we want to support one another. And Allah said in Surah An-Nisa, when Allah orders us to worship Allah alone and to be kind to our parents and our relatives, Allah also says, وَالصَّاحِبِ بِالْجَنْبِ. And this is your companion that you're traveling with. So you want to be kind to your companion and you want to support him in doing good. You don't want to assist him in doing evil and not in doing what Allah would love for you and him to be doing on this journey. Also, you want to focus on why you're taking this journey. This is not a holiday. It's not like going to, say, the UAE or Qatar. You're not going on a trip. It's a group you're traveling with. It's also an act of worship, and an act of worship actually comes with difficulty. Allah in Surah Al-Ma'idah, He said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu layabluwannakum Allahu bi shay'in min as-sayd. Allah, Ya you who believe, indeed Allah is going to test you in your state of ihram. So when you start this act of worship, you're going to be tested. Like your emotions are going to be tested, and your patience will be tested. You are going to lose out on sleep. You might not eat the stuff that you want to eat, or you'd like to eat or drink, or you may not have the comforts that you might want to have. And this is going to put you through a test. And if you're patient, then this is greater for your reward. You want to remember this throughout this journey. Taib, Umrah. In summary, the Umrah is composed of 4 parts, and this is really the key takeaway. If you wanted to look at this from a macro angle, then the 4 things that Umrah is composed of is the Ihram, and this is a spiritual state. Ihram is a state that you enter in, and you have the Tawaf, which is the 7 circuits around the Kaaba, and you have the Sa'i, which is to go back and forth between Safa and Marwa, and then you have the cutting of the hair or the shaving of the head. These are all pillars of Umrah. So you need to complete these 4 steps. And if you remember these 4 steps and you can complete them as a whole, then your Umrah is complete. Now, there are extra details in each one of these steps. And some of those details are mustahab, and a lot of them are mustahab or sunnah, and a lot of them can be either compensated for or overlooked if you miss them out. So let's start with the ihram. The ihram is a state. It's actually a spiritual state. So when you put on the ihram, when you put on the white cloth for the men, or if a sister is going to put on some special clothes for her ihram, you haven't entered the state of ihram. So the ihram really is you can think of it as three things. It's clothing, or a dress code. This is probably worded better, is that it's a dress code. And there is a intention and a declaration where you state something on your tongue. Where you state something on your tongue. Likewise, you know, when you start the salah, the first takbirah is called takbiratul tahrim. Takbiratul tahrim. Likewise, here you have the same root letters. Ihram comes from the same root letters as at-tahrim, takbiratul tahrim. When you say Allahu Akbar, you enter a special state of ibadah. Likewise, when you declare this on your tongue, you enter a special state of ibadah, which is the ibadah of Hajj or Umrah. And then this comes with certain restrictions, just like when you say Allahu Akbar in the Salah, there are certain restrictions. You can't eat, you can't talk, you can't drink, you don't turn away from the Qibla, etc., etc. Likewise, there's restrictions in the state of Ihram. So let's start with the dress code. For sisters, then the only dress code for sisters is that they don't wear gloves or niqabs. They don't wear gloves or niqabs. Other than that, they can wear whatever they normally wear. They can wear even in terms of color, there is no special color for them to wear. They can wear whatever they're wearing, but they won't wear a niqab and they won't wear gloves. They can have a cloth that they can pull down to cover their face. If they normally wear niqab, they can pull down a cloth to cover their faces when non-mahram men are nearby or walking by. For brothers, the ihram is the two white cloths, two large white cloths. And also with brothers, they don't cover their heads and they don't wear anything which is tailored. So ideally, you want these white cloths to be as plain as possible. And they shouldn't have stitching done in the sense that they're tailored, tailored in the form of a limb, like trousers are, around the outer form of your legs. You can have an ihram and you can wear a pin, a safety pin will be okay. Likewise, wearing a belt to hold up the ihram would also be fine. With the ihram for brothers as well, is that the footwear. The footwear is that you wear sandals. Now, in this picture, we have here 4 types of different sandals. This one, according to most, these crocs or clogs will be a no, that you wouldn't wear them. With the others, there's a difference of opinion. If you're following the Hanafi madhab, then it will normally be something like this. But this type specifically, I wouldn't recommend that you buy, because if somebody steps by accident on the back of this as your heel goes up, this top part or strap tends to come away. So if you are going to wear this type of sandal, then I would highly recommend that you get a good make, whereby it's solid and you can walk in it for a long time, and this is not going to come away, not like these cheap ones where they tend to come away. According to the other madhahib, you can wear this type of sandal, and this makes walking easier. And you can also wear this type of sandal as well. Just a personal tip, if you're going to get this type of sandal, try and avoid getting the leather one, because obviously you're going to be doing wudu in it. And if you're getting a leather type, sometimes it can start to smell. Again, you want to wear something which is comfortable, and you can walk for long distance in them, and you want to wear into them ideally before you go out for your journey of Hajj. In terms of the process before entering Ihram is, it is mustahab. It is mustahab to have ghusl, or to bath. And then before bathing, you're going to remove nails and pubic hair. This is if there's a need. If there's no need, then you don't have to do this step. But the ghusl is a sunnah, and the Prophet he would have his body perfumed, and often Aisha radiallahu anha would do this for him. And before you enter the state of ihram, another sunnah that the books of fiqh and the scholars they mention is to pray salah. So you can enter the state of ihram by saying labbaik Allahumma umratan in this case after a fard salah, or you can do a nafil salah, or if you're at a masjid, you could do tahiyyatul masjid, and after the end of the salah, or at the end of the salah, when you say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, then you can enter the state of ihram. This is the desirable way or mustahab way of entering the state of ihram. When you're in the state of ihram, you can wear wristwatches, you can wear rings, glasses, earphones, all of this is allowed. And the only thing that's prohibited, like we said, is covering the head, wearing tailored clothing, and wearing those types of shoes or sandals that will cover the front toes and completely cover the heels. It's also permissible to have a shower. It's also permissible to change your ihram clothing into a new set of clothing. Now, when are we going to enter the state of ihram? We're going to enter the state of ihram before we pass this boundary. So this is called the mawaqit or the miqats. And before you go past, if you're coming from Medina, it's going to be before you, or if you get to Dhul Hulayfa. So we can actually divide this into two scenarios. Number one, you're going to stop at the miqat, and this often happens if you're in Medina and you're going by road to Mecca, in which case the coach will stop at Dhul Hulayfa, you'll come off, you'll pray 2 rak'ah, and then you can enter the state of ihram. The other scenario is that you're not going to stop at the miqat. Okay, you're either going to go from Medina to Mecca by train or fly, or you're coming straight from the west and you're coming this way and you're going to land in Jeddah airport there. So in this case, you're going to enter the state of ihram before you pass this boundary. And you have a number of options. You can either wait till about 10-15 minutes. Often the pilot will make an announcement that we're approaching the miqat, and you can enter the state of ihram when that announcement is made. If you're the type who likes to sleep in the plane, and then you can actually, as soon as you get into the plane, in Heathrow, in Medina, or whichever airport you're coming from, you can actually enter the state of ihram and you can go to sleep. And then you can wake up when you're in Jeddah. And the way you're going to enter the state of ihram is that you're going to have an intention. To be fair, the intention is very simple. Once you've left your house, you're already intending to do Umrah and Hajj. So the intention bit is very flexible. You don't have to articulate anything, except for you're going to say Labbaik Allahumma Umrah. Labbaik Allahumma Umrah. This is if you're doing Umrah, and for this stage, this is what we're going to stick with. Even this is not that strict. Even if you just said Labbaik, even if you just said the Talbiyah, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, Labbaik la sharika laka Labbaik, and you intended to do the Umrah, this would even be good enough. Yeah, this would even be good enough. I'm going to try and go over the slides and the steps quickly, and then we'll, if we can keep questions till the end, you can write them down, and then if there are any questions, then inshallah at the end we'll cover those questions. Okay, Jay, prohibitions. What are the restrictions of ihram? For men, wearing tailored clothing. Tailored clothing, so anything like socks, trousers, shirts. If you're wearing this, then you have broken one of the restrictions of ihram. Likewise, covering the head, removing any hair intentionally, trimming nails as well, wearing perfume, hunting, proposing or accepting proposals, and engaging in sexual activity. Now, these 8 prohibitions, there's only one that would completely invalidate your act of worship, the Hajj and the Umrah, and that is engaging in sexual activity. As for the other 7, then there is a compensation. If you fell into one of them, or if you had to fall into one of them, then there are compensations for them. And generally, as a general rule, you would, if you did one of them out of forgetfulness or by mistake, then this is overlooked. So a common question will be is that you fell asleep and your sleeping bag or your duvet covered your head. Would this be a problem? Then this is not a problem. Likewise, by accident, you used the hand wash at the airport and it had perfume in it. This would also be something that would be overlooked because you did this at a moment of ghafla or heedlessness, and there would be no issue with this. But again, if you have a specific problem or you have a need, for example, you might have a need to remove hair or you might have a need to trim nails. And this is why it's recommended that you do this before you enter the state of ihram. But if there is a need to even wear tailored clothing because something has happened or you have a specific need due to a special medical requirement, then again approach one of us and we can find a solution for you, inshallah. Once we enter the state of ihram, so we said the first pillar for Hajj, the first pillar for Umrah is to enter the state of ihram, and this is done by changing our clothing and then saying the talbiyah or saying labbaik Allahumma Umrah, labbaik Allahumma Umrah. You might find other terms mentioned in the books of Hajj and Umrah or the little guides that you get, the pocket guides of Hajj and Umrah. They may mention other terms. All of those terms are flexible, and any of those terms would be fine for you to say. On the way to Mecca, once you set off, you have now entered the state of Ihram. This is like when you say Allahu Akbar and you enter the state of Salah. You're now in a sacred state of worship. And it is recommended that you often say the talbiyah. You say it straight away after entering the state of Ihram, and the Prophet ﷺ would say this when his camel would set off from the miqat. And some scholars, they liked the muhrim to say this if they went up a high place or if they went down a valley, and some even said after the salah as well. Some even said after the salah. So you can say this talbiyah, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. Now on your way to Mecca, you might see this type of pillar here. This is the boundary of the haram. And if you're coming from Jeddah by road, you'll see this as well. You can look out for this. This is where the haram boundary is. And this is now a sacred place as well. So you have a number of sacred things coming together. Your state of ihram is sacred. It's a sacred state. You have a sacred time, which is Dhul Hijjah. The 10 days of Dhul Hijjah are the days in which deeds are most beloved to Allah Azza wa Jal. And now you have a sacred place as well. The place is also sacred, which is Mecca. When you go beyond this boundary, then good deeds and sins as well carry greater weight. Good deeds are multiplied, and sins are also heavier if done in this boundary. And some of the scholars, they said when it comes to the 100,000 reward, it doesn't just apply to Salah. It also applies to other acts of worship. So if you're going to give charity, if you're going to fast, if you're going to do other acts of dhikr and Quran, this is also multiplied 100,000 times, according to some scholars. Once we get to Mecca, we're going to start the acts of Umrah. So once we get to Mecca in our coach, whether it's from the airport or whether it's from the train station, once we arrive, we're going to check in, place our luggage in the hotel room. You may want to rest, and that's absolutely fine. that you rest. Abdullah bin Umar would actually rest outside Mecca for one night and then go into Mecca fresh the next day. But you might be too excited to rest, and you may want to go and see the Kaaba and do your Umrah. In which case, you're going to walk towards the Haram, and as you're walking towards the Haram, you can continue to say the Talbiyah. Once you get to the Haram, is there a dua for seeing the Kaaba? Some scholars, they said it's mustahab to make a dua when you first see the Kaaba, and that dua is answered. There isn't anything from the Prophet ﷺ, regarding this, but it could be that scholars like this because of your emotional state of love and awe that you have for Allah and ta'zeem of His house. In this state, that's maybe why that could maybe why some scholars they supported this act of making dua when you first see the Kaaba. Umar ibn al-Khattab, when he would first see the house, the Kaaba, he would actually say, Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam, hayyina rabbana bisalam. So if somebody wanted to make this dua when he first or she first sees the Kaaba, this is fine. And if somebody wanted to make any other dua when they first see the Kaaba, that would also be okay. When you start the tawaf, before you start the tawaf, you actually want to make wudu. And as a tip, it's actually recommended that you make wudu before you leave your hotel, even your house in the UK. Before you leave for the masjid, you actually want to leave in the state of wudu to get the reward of the steps that you take to the masjid. When you get to the haram and you're about to enter the tawaf area, which is called the mataf in Arabic, then for the men, they want to uncover their right shoulders, and this is called ittiba. And you're going to uncover, the men are going to uncover their right shoulder for this tawaf for the entire period of the tawaf. When it comes to starting the tawaf, the beginning of the tawaf starts at the black stone. And here are some signs that you can use, or some signposts that you can use to find the black stone. Often there will be congestion around the black stone or this line in the mataf area. If you are able to get to the ground floor, you can do tawaf on the ground floor. If you're not able to get to the ground floor, then you can go up to one of the floors above. The advantage of the ground floor is that you're closer to the Kaaba. Another advantage of the ground floor is the circumference that you walk will be smaller, so there's less walking. One of the main disadvantages of doing tawaf on the ground floor is that because it's more congested, you can be pushed and shoved a lot more. So if you're the type to lose patience quickly or to get angry quickly, and you don't like being crowded or being pushed and shoved, or somebody stepping or kicking the back of your heel by accident, or stepping on your foot by accident, then you may want to skip the ground floor and go up straight to the first floor or the roof to do your tawaf up there. Then you'll have a longer circumference to walk, but however, there's going to be more space, and because it's not as busy, you're less likely to get pushed or shoved, or somebody injure your foot or your heel when you're doing the tawaf up there. Once you get to the black stone, you want to point and say Allahu Akbar. You point with your right hand and you want to say Allahu Akbar, and you can start the tawaf. Some scholars, they mention Bismillah as well. So Abdullah ibn Umar, he would say Bismillah Allahu Akbar, or you can say Allahu Akbar, and you start the tawaf. In the first 3 circuits, the men are recommended to jog. This is probably not practical in busy periods. You won't be able to jog because if you're on the ground floor, it'll be too busy and you might harm someone. And then if you're on the roof or on the first floor, it's difficult to jog for that distance. So this is mentioned as some books may mention it, um, and generally it is a sunnah, and that you could practice if it wasn't busy. But otherwise, especially if you're with someone, if you're with women, or you're looking after someone elderly, then it is probably better for you to go at their pace. When you're doing the tawaf, other than saying Allahu Akbar at the beginning, and then saying this dua, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ, between the Yemeni corner and the black stone, it's very open. You can make any dhikr, any dua, read Quran while you're doing tawaf around the Kaaba. So any act of worship while you're doing tawaf around the Kaaba, this is the time to do it. You also have to remember that avoiding harming others and also being patient, controlling your anger, this is also an act of worship. Yeah, and being kind to others, looking after others is also an act of worship. Now, Abdullah bin Abbas, he said that the tawaf is like salah, except you're allowed to speak in it. Some of us, we don't know Arabic, so maybe we don't really enjoy our salah a lot. Or some of us might ask, can we make dua in English in salah? Well, here it is, here's your chance, because the tawaf is like salah, and here you have a chance to ask Allah Azza wa Jal for anything in the English language or in your own language. So when it comes to the dua, you want to use a language where it comes from the heart, and you want to make a dua for the dunya and the akhirah, as is mentioned in this example of dua that Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the rites of Hajj. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Oh Allah, give us in this life what is the best, and likewise in the akhirah, and protect us from the punishment of the fire. Every time the Prophet ﷺ would go past the black stone, he would face it and point towards it with his right hand and say Allahu Akbar. Okay, so you can do this. You can do it with your hand. It doesn't have to be a finger. There is whatever has been left open in the Sharia is open for us to practice as well. Once all 7 circuits are completed, so when it comes to the tawaf, we're going to be doing this in the state of wudu, when we might want to have a counter. It's recommended to have a counter so you don't forget the number of circuits that you have completed. Once you've completed all 7 circuits, for the brothers, they want to cover their right shoulders because you're now going to pray 2 rak'ah. Now, you're unlikely to find a spot directly behind the Maqam Ibrahim, even though this is mentioned in the books. Often you'll find there will be one-way systems in place, and you would want to follow that around. So once you go past on the 7th circuit, once you go past the black stone, you don't point at the black stone. You'll continue to walk a little bit. And then as you come out, you want to be walking slightly out now. So if you're doing tawaf right around the Kaaba, you should be on the outside now, on the last circuit. And then you'll follow around and you'll see people just coming off or veering off the mataf area. And there will be a little section where you can pray 2 rak'ah. And from that section, there's often a one-way system for you to get to Safa or Mount Safa as well. And you can do this dhikr as well when you're going to read the 2 rak'ahs. So that is the tawaf. That's the second pillar. So the first was the ihram, the second was the tawaf, now the sa'i, the Safa Marwa. And the Safa Marwa is to walk 7 times between Safa and Marwa, starting from Mount Safa. The Mount Safa is the one closest to the black stone. So you're going to go back on yourself a little bit. And again, usually the crowd control is usually quite good. There's one-way systems in place and barriers to guide you to Mount Safa. But you'll see this sign here and you'll see the green light. That's where Mount Safa is located, just behind there. Once you go to Mount Safa, You can, again, the ground floor is usually the busiest. There are floors above. There's even a basement floor where you can go. And I think the basement floor is the one that has the AC. I'm not sure about the air conditioning on the other floors, but maybe some of the brothers who were there last year can comment on this later. Once you're there, you can do this, do the dhikr that's mentioned in the books of Hajj and Umrah, which is this: the Prophet, he raised his hand and said this 3 times, and then he made a dua. He made a dua facing the Kaaba. So you're going to do this standing on Mount Safa, and then you're going to walk towards Marwa. And this green lighted area is the base of the valley. And you can jog in this or through this green lighted area until you get to the other side of that shady or the green lighted area, and then you walk up to or across to Mount Marwa, and then raise your hands and do the same, and you make a dua. You do the same dua as mentioned here, making a dua in between in your own language or any other duas that you may have memorized from the Quran and the Ahadith. So you're going to complete 7 circuits. Once you complete 7 circuits, again, you can have a counter to help you if you're forgetful. In between, you can say any dhikr, and you can read Quran, you can make dua in English, and then you want to complete this process until you finish on Marwa. So you'll end up on Marwa for the 7th circuit. So Safa to Marwa is 1 circuit, and Marwa to Safa is the 2nd circuit. So you'll finish on Marwa. Okay, Jay, this is just a breakdown of where you will locate Safa Marwa and a summary of the 7 circuits of Tawaf. And you come to Marwa, which is here. Start from here and do 7 circuits from Marwa to Safa. It's Mar 1, and this will be 2. So you'll always end up on an even number in Marwa and an odd number in so you always end up on an even number on Safa and an odd number on Marwa. So this is the 3rd pillar of Umrah, which is a Sa'i or Safa Marwa. The 4th pillar, which is to shave the head or cut the hair. And this is done to come out of the state of Ihram. Just like you have Allahu Akbar to enter the state of Salah, and then you have Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to come out of the state of Ihram, to come out of the state of Salah. Likewise, you have cutting the hair to come out of the state of Ihram. When it comes to cutting the hair for Umrah, most scholars, they recommend shortening the hair for men to save the shaving for Hajj. Now, if you're going there for a longer period and your hair will grow back, you can shave for Umrah, and you know that your hair will grow back for Hajj, and then you can shave again for Hajj as well. If you're going to cut for sisters and for men, you want to cut about 1 inch, so it's the length of a fingertip. So where you have the first join hair, it's about that much that you're going to cut from the end of long hair. In summary, we have the 4 ihrams, the 4 pillars. The first is the ihram, and the most important thing here is the dress code and your intention and declaration, what you're going to declare, what you're going to say. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. If you said this talbiyah and you intended an act of worship in your heart, this is good enough. This is like saying Allahu Akbar. And for example, Allah Azza wa Jal knows that you're intending this to be a sunnah of Fajr or the fard of Fajr. Likewise, when you say Allah labbaik Allahumma labbaik, the talbiyah, and you're intending this to be an Umrah, Allah Azza wa Jal knows that this is an Umrah. If you're doing Hajj on behalf of someone or you're doing Umrah on behalf of someone, again, contact me or one of the guides, and then we can tell you what's the slightly different phrase that you want to say. But again, whatever's in your heart and you said the talbiyah, this would be good enough. If you want to say some of those other adhkar that are mentioned in the books, the pocket guides of Hajj and Umrah, then this is fine as well. Then we've got the second pillar is the tawaf. This consists of 7 circuits around the Kaaba and 2 salahs, 2 rakahs of salah. There is flexibility with this salah. It doesn't have to be done straight away. Um, and you can have a break as well in the tawaf. You can break your tawaf to pray the fard salah, but you need to continue from the place that you broke off from. So this is the tawaf. The third is the sa'i, the Safa Marwa, which is 7 circuits, and then you have the last, which is shortening the hair or shaving for men if they prefer to. Jade, okay, because of time, I'm going to skip this post Umrah. Maybe we can cover this in Mecca. Some things that you can do in Mecca after your Umrah. Let's go on to questions, maybe Q&A. If there's any questions, if there's a chat function here, Saeed or one of the brothers, are you there?
Jazakallah khair, Mr. Thaqib. Yes, we've got a few questions on the Q&A section. So the first question, I do understand we need to pay back loans, but what about loans that we can't pay back, such as student loan, which we pay monthly from our wages?
Yeah, stuff like that. So if a loan is not due, or it's something like a student loan, then there's a lot more flexibility on that. Likewise, if you've got assets that you're leaving behind, that if something happened, they could be sold to pay off the loan. Because the thing with the student loan is that the nature of it is if something happens, then that loan gets written off. So it's a flexible type of loan, and it may even be just a tax under a different name, as some scholars have mentioned. So with that issue, there's not a problem. If you have a student loan, then that will not prevent you from going to Umrah. Dave, any other questions?
Yep, there are a few more. We'll take them quite quickly. When on a state of ihram, can we apply sun cream?
Yes, so you want your sun cream to be non-perfumed. Likewise, if you're going to wash your hands, ideally you want to take some non-perfumed shower gel or hand wash, or likewise if you're using hand gel as well, like an antibacterial hand gel, you want to make sure that it's not perfumed. Anything that does not have perfume in it, you can use, and it'll be fine, inshallah.
Inshallah. The next one, would you recommend getting into ihram before leaving the house to Heathrow Airport, or can we or should we change on the plane?
Oh, very good question. Yeah, I highly recommend that you get changed at your place of residence. So whether that's your hotel or your home. So for the brothers, what I normally recommend, what I've always done, is I will wear my lower garment of ihram because I'm okay wearing an ihram, my lower garment. I don't have to wear like trousers or underwear. If you're like this, then I recommend wearing your lower garment and then wearing something like a thobe on top. So in the plane, all you have to do is take your thobe off and then put the other garment, your top garment, on, and then you can enter the state of ihram. The problem with getting changed on the plane or getting changed in the airport is that there can be queues. It might not be clean as well, and the toilets in the airplanes aren't really. There's not enough space really for you to get changed into ihram clothes. So I highly recommend either you wear your full ihram from your home or your hotel if you're going by road. Even if you're going to stop at Dhul Hulayfa, I would wear my full ihram and then stop at Dhul Hulayfa and then pray my salah and then I would continue. That would be easier and better, and also better for the group as well, for everyone. And it's a type of ihsan for everyone else that you're traveling with in the plane, because you will often see there's queues for people to get changed in the airplane toilets.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. There's a question. If someone follows the Hanafi madhab and they really can't wear those flip-flop sandals because it hurts their toe, no matter how good the quality they are, would it be okay to wear regular sandals?
Okay, very good question. Yes. Okay, there's a couple of points I wanted to cover here. First of all, if you're following a particular madhab, or if you're following a particular scholar, then this is you're most welcome to, and inshallah will support you in this. And hopefully we'll have some Hanafi scholars with us as well on this trip, and inshallah they can support you. Likewise, we can contact Hanafi scholars as well, and will support you in this to the best of our ability. Secondly, with this specific question, yes, you can. You can wear something else. The Prophet said, whoever does not find sandals, then he can wear something a bit more complete. He can wear something a bit more complete, but they should be below the ankle. So they should be below the ankle. And some scholars would like you to give a type of charity. And then if you reach out to me, I'll tell you what this is. And then you can give a type of charity just to cover yourself.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We'll just take a couple of more questions and then we'll end the session because brothers and sisters, you would want to go to Isha Salah. So there's just one question here. Are we allowed to touch the Kaaba even though the cloth has perfume on it? Would it nullify our Umrah ihram?
Yeah, very good. Very good question. So first of all, you want to avoid perfume. Again, people, when they do touch the Kaaba, they often forget that it's perfumed. There's a difference between putting perfume on yourself or touching something that has perfume on it, according to some scholars. I would recommend, when it comes to touching the Kaaba, you don't do this in the state of Ihram. It's first of all, it's difficult to get to. Even in the time of Abdullah bin Umar, there are some narrations that Abdullah bin Umar would touch the black stone, often queuing up for it, and sometimes he would come out with a bloody nose. So people are emotional. There's a lot of pushing and shoving going. If you're going to touch the Kaaba, then you want to be careful that you don't harm anyone, and you want to be careful that you don't get harmed yourself. And then, because of the perfume issue, I would recommend staying away from this while in the state of Ihram.
Jazakallah khair. Ustad, just one more question, and it's quite a good question. If we decide to shave our head on Umrah, and then when Hajj comes, we want to shave our head again, would the same hadith not apply on both cases?
Say that again?
So if we decide to shave our head after Umrah or on Umrah, and when Hajj comes, we want to shave our head again, would the same hadith not apply on both cases?
Yes, it would. About the dua for 3 times for shaving the head. Yes, it would. The reason why scholars they said that it may be better to trim your hair for Umrah is often people that come for Umrah and Hajj, the Umrah is just a few days before the Hajj. So for a lot of people, their hair will not grow back that quickly. But yes, if you wanted to shave your head twice, then this is something good as well, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Ustad. Brothers and sisters, I know there's lots of questions. If you could redirect them to the various WhatsApp group that you're in, inshallah, the guides will be able to respond to your questions. And if there's any difficult question, we can forward them to Ustad Thaqib or any of the mashayikhs on that group will be able to respond to those questions. We will stop here tonight because a lot of people need to go to Isha Salah. Inshallah, we will resume the session again on Thursday, where we will continue with the fiqh of Hajj. So we'll end the session here tonight. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.